Anytime Xur has something incredible up for grabs, I try to give my subscribers a heads up. I missed last week's Wormhusk, which was pretty good, but he brought even better Dunemarchers and Getaway Artists. The Dunemarchers have 13 Recovery, 14 Discipline, and 13 Intellect, and the Getaway Artist has 18 Recovery and 18 Discipline, which is exactly what you want on at least the Getaway Artist, and the Dunemarchers you can arguably turn into a very competitive Titan setup. Xur is also selling the Queenbreaker Linear Fusion Rifle and Lucky Raspberry for the Hunter, so pick those up if you don't have them, but definitely do not miss out on Dunemarchers or Getaway Artist. I was initially going to make two separate build videos on Dunemarchers and Getaway Artists, but I decided to combine them into a abridged version because I'm a little crunched for time, but I still think this is good information and you guys need to know this. So I'll start off by explaining Titan Dunemarchers. This has a perk called Linear Actuators, which make it so that when you sprint, it builds up a static charge, and if you melee somebody, it chains lightning to nearby enemies. Nearby is a misnomer there because it chains really far. Whatever distance you have in your head where you think it chains, double that distance, and it'll be close. It also improves your sprint speed, which works in tandem with your jump ability. Now, I prefer Catapult, and Catapult does have an advantage of giving you a slightly slower Titan skate. I know some of you are familiar with the pre-nerf Titan skate. It's not that fast, but it's still faster than normally sprinting. Of course, you could also use Strafe Lift to get that horizontal movement forward, which is also faster than just sprinting, but Catapult just edges that out as well. Catapult I prefer not because of the skating, but because it gives you upward momentum, which lets me play around the map a little bit more, where I can bait a super on and off the map and that sort of thing. Slide distance is a big boon of Dunemarchers since this game doesn't really handle sliding very well, and on your opponent's screen it may desync your character model sometimes, and they can't track you. It's just impossible. Take the background gameplay as an example. I'm sliding all over the place and just barely surviving because the enemy cannot track that extra slide movement. And I'm sure on their screen, I'm doing that like hyperspeed crouch walk and not exactly a slide 100% of the time. Overall, Dunemarchers are a very strong neutral pick for any Titan subclass, but I find it works best on bottom tree striker or middle tree striker because they both have melee helpers, things that help get melee kills. I find that shoulder charge is a little too difficult to pull off at high level games, and on the other subclasses that are not bottom tree striker, the melee lunge range isn't obnoxious enough to end up chaining that lightning. So it all comes down to Coda the Missile having that surprise ballistic slam, or bottom tree striker teleporting around in melee distance to pick up that chain of lightning. And speaking of lightning, since these Dunemarchers have decent discipline, you get to use the lightning grenade more, and it's already a pretty good grenade, so don't forget about it. And that covers the Titan portion of this video. So I know someone's in the comments section typing it up right now, like, why'd you have to tell everyone about this, Cammy? It was already overused, and now it's all I'm going to see, because now people are going to pick up Dunemarchers from Xur, and there's going to be Titans chaining lightning all over the place. Hold on. Xur also sold the counter to that build. I'm not even joking here. The Getaway Artist hard counters Titan. Everything about this build just dumps on a Titan. Hear me out. So Getaway Artist exotic gauntlets make it so you can convert your arc grenade into an arc bodyguard, an autonomous turret that floats on your shoulder and shoots submachine gun style rounds at people. So I started combining this with a 110 hand cannon and a Lord of Wolves shotgun. The 110 hand cannon works out because if the arc bodyguard tags them for even 1 damage, you can 2-tap with a 110 hand cannon, and the arc bodyguard will hit them at submachine gun distance. And the same could be said about the Lord of Wolves, whereas you normally have to land a full burst to kill at a reasonable anti-shotgun distance, or SMG distance, the arc bodyguard does enough chip damage so that if you aim at the head with Lord of Wolves, you can pick up the kill more often than not. And so combining this with a 91 damage headshot of a 110 RPM hand cannon, and then swapping to Lord of Wolves for the cleanup, and letting the arc bodyguard do some chip damage in between, you have a very lethal, almost recluse-like TTK setup. So now you're wondering, how does this counter Titans? Well, Titans class ability is the barricade. They set up a little fortress and think they're safe. But if you play middle tree Stormcaller, they're not safe at all, because you have 3 ways to counter it. You have Lord of Wolves, the exotic shotgun, to just burst it down, you have your arc bodyguard to assist your hand cannon to burst it down, and then you have your melee, which you can shoot above the barricade, and it shoots perpendicularly downward to do melee damage for free. So what you can do is you can set up a no-win situation if you play aggressively against a barricade. So as soon as a Titan throws the barricade up, you run towards them, shoot the ball lightning overhead, and just spray down with Lord of Wolves. Chances are they have to leave the barricade or you break it immediately and the Lord of Wolves and Arc Bodyguard kills them before they can out TTK you. In this loadout, I know when people hear Lord of Wolves, they immediately think you're deliberately trying to be off meta, but I really do think it's the best tool for the job because of what it enables. You lose out on instant TTK up close, but you gain it in extremely fast TTK at medium. And so as long as you are jumping outward in every shotgun duel, you'll win more often than not. You definitely have to be in the right mindset to take advantage of this loadout. You can't be thinking of the Lord of Wolves or the hand cannon. You need to go into every engagement intending to use both of them at the same time. Put a hand cannon shot in, quick swap to the Lord of Wolves, shoot him with Lord of Wolves, clean up with the hand cannon, pop the Arc Bodyguard, use a melee overhead when you're taking cover. As long as you're using your whole kit, it does work for you. But the second that you try to use any of this individually without the whole build helping each other out, it falls apart. The final thing to mention about this whole kit is the Empowering Rift, which enables your 110 hand cannon to 2-tap, and if, like mine, you have Rampage on it, then Rampage activates from getting a 2-tap, and then you can 2-tap by leaving the Rift, and just keep that chain up. But also, if you have Lord of Wolves, and you hold the reload button down, it will activate a 10 burst mode instead of a 5 burst mode. And if you're camping in the Emp Rift and a super rushes you, just release the wolves, hold that 10 burst down, and because of Empowering Rift and the 10 burst, it doesn't even matter if you land half of them, the super is gonna get shredded. With that being said, that brings an end to the video, so I hope you enjoyed it. Comment below if you found these loadouts very fun to use. In other news, if I don't mention this, someone else will in the comment section. Bungie has sued a cheat provider, which is a good start. Obviously, I want more to be done, but we'll have to wait and see. The current state of Destiny right now is very stagnant. The PvP meta is solved, and it's not very interesting. We're in dire need of a sandbox change. So I don't really want to break my back forcing content when that time could be better spent farming for gear to counter gear sunsetting and prepare for Beyond Light. So that's exactly what I'm doing. If you see me stream Destiny, it's 99% going to be Beyond Light prep and not so much just running around in PvP, unless of course we have an exception like when Xur sells an amazing exotic that you can't pass up. I've taken the same approach to the other game I play, Phantasy Star Online 2, which is an action RPG MMO with a world very similar to Destiny 2. It's the game that got me into Destiny 2 in the first place, to save a lengthy explanation. But if I had to give you the short explanation, you can kill celestial gods for some sick loot, or you can throw dollar bills around to someone slob squatting while Hatsune Miku is taking pictures of it. Wait. Anyway, my long-term plans involve essentially recreating my favorite character on multiple servers because that comes with some advantages. The first advantage is that I get to collaborate with other content creators no matter what server they're on. The second advantage takes a little bit of an explanation, but I'll say it in Destiny terms. You know how in Destiny we're able to get our raid reward loot once per character per week? Phantasy Star does its raid loot system different. It does what's called an urgent quest. These are scheduled or random throughout the day, and they give you a 30-minute window to complete the quest, sometimes per character, sometimes per server. So if I have multiple geared characters on different servers, and if I'm skilled enough to do so, I can get multiple boss kills where the general population might only get 1 or 2. This ultimately sets up my account with the best bang for your buck approach of time versus reward, because I'm getting twice the chances of getting something valuable from a boss kill, and I'm making double progress towards deterministic loot that makes my character more powerful. But like I was alluding to, this is only possible if you're set up and skilled enough to do this in the first place. It's such a breath of fresh air that the game systems encourage mastering the game and respect the hell out of your time. This is genuinely the highlight of my day every time I play it. So I'm also hoping that Beyond Light is the other highlight of my day, because the way this tail end of 2020 is shaping up, my daily gaming rotation in 2021 is going to be amazing. I'll spend most of the day exploring Destiny content, and whenever there's an urgent quest up in PSO, swap to that, go hard in the paint, get some loot, chill with some friends. In between that, edit a video here and there. And then when I really have to scratch that competitive itch, I'll pick up a fighting game like Guilty Gear Strive, because after all this 2020 COVID stuff blows over, I will start going to conventions again, and inevitably at conventions there's always a fighting game tournament, so it would be nice, since I'm already there, just to enter for fun. I know I'm sort of rambling on, and we're at the 10 minute 30 second point, so you probably think I'm needlessly stretching this video, but keep in mind I haven't uploaded as much lately. And I'm not saying like I need the monetization from this video or whatever, but more or less just like there's so many things to talk about that should have been an individual video, but I've just kept myself so busy. So I'm just doing it all in this one. Which brings me to a similar topic that someone's going to inevitably ask if I don't cover it now. So what do I think of Genshin Impact? Well, I was part of the closed beta test and thought it was a very enjoyable world that I could get lost in with a cool setting and lore. It's Breath of the Wild-esque gameplay, so that was already a recipe for success for me. So I was totally behind it, until I realized that it is an online-only game. And you might be saying, well, that's not a deal breaker to you, but that is a deal breaker to me when I am already so pressed for my time. My time's a premium in the day. So I don't want to have to be online to explore a world like that. I would rather reserve that game for when I am forced to travel, when I'm forced to go to functions, and have, an hour or two to kill, so I might as well enjoy myself with some Genshin Impact. But that's not an option, because it's a gacha game, and it has to be online. So you sort of see my predicament here. I'm going to play it, but I'm not going to sink even a tenth to as much time as I would if it was offline in the first place. In fact, I would just chunk $100 into this game to play it offline as a full-fledged title without any of the microtransaction system. I would just do that. It has the formula to be a good game. It has the setting to be a good game. It has the content to be a good game. It's a co-op RPG, not an MMO. It doesn't have to be online. And that's in a nutshell why Genshin Impact isn't high on my priority list. So I guess that covers every odd topic I had to talk about. So thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one.